The world is hurting right now, and it's time to rise up. As we lift ourselves up in body, mind, and spirit, we can reach out to others and be a light in a sea of darkness. Welcome to the Movement for Global Health with your host, Dr. Mary Zennett.
Mike Veny is a highly sought-after keynote mental health speaker. He is a world-class professional drummer, and he is the author of the book, Transforming Stigma: How to Become a Mental Wellness Superhero. As the 2017 PM360 Elite Award winner, Mike is recognized as one of the 100 most influential people in the healthcare industry. That's some accomplishment. Mike shares the depths of his pain and triumphs dealing with his own mental health challenges. Mike, it's truly a privilege to have you today on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, and hello to your listeners and viewers out there.
That's awesome. Mike, tell us, I know you've got a lot to share, but let's summarize your own story, how you got here.
How I got here. How did I get here today in this session with you? Well, basically, I'm 43. I've been battling mental health challenges for most of my life. And when I tell people that, the thing I always remind people is, in my opinion, mental health challenges are three things: thoughts, feelings, and behavior. It falls under mental health. And, you can't see someone's thoughts. We like to think we can perceive feelings, but you can absolutely observe behavior. And I had a lot of behavior problems as a child, to the point where I was hospitalized in a mental hospital 3 times for extended periods, expelled from 3 schools, attempted to die by suicide at age 10, lots of self-harm, on so many medications. And my life eventually got better towards the end of high school. I had a major turning point with drumming being the thing that turned my life around. And it made it better for me. And that evolved into what I'm doing today.
Wow. But what a road.
What a road, yes. And it's funny, like we're talking about this right now. During those dark times, I would have never imagined us sitting here like this talking about it. I mean, it was so painful. And as you know, when people struggle with mental health, it's so isolating. It's so isolating. You feel like you're just stuck in something that, even if you can talk to someone about it, you're just stuck in it. So it's pretty cool that I'm here to talk with you.
It's very cool. And when you're going through it, it's all encompassing, right? I mean, it's like you're in this bubble or cloud and you don't know what to do or who to turn to or what to do.
Yeah.
So, and as a child, even more so. It's
absolutely. And you said an important thing there, and this even goes with what we're going to be talking about more. Sometimes when an emotion takes over, it feels like we are the emotion, and I know that many times I've been angry. It's just, I am angry at that moment or in that point in time. And as a child, even if you've got really good grasp of language, it's hard to articulate what's going on. So I tell parents all the time, if a child says, I don't know, when you ask them what's going on, they're telling you the truth.
They don't know. They are telling you the truth. They don't know. So then tell us your journey, how you how you're here today. You had quite a mental health journey.
Yeah. Well, basically, drumming became my career for about 10 years. And what was interesting about that is I thought my mental health challenges were gone. And oftentimes when we struggle with challenges like this, those of us who've been battling it for a lifetime, we want it to go away. We have this imaginary vision of normal in our heads. And it really hit me very hard in 2011 when I realized the challenges didn't go away.
Wow.
And I had a breakdown. And I reached out to a woman who worked in mental health because I needed help. I was suicidal. And basically she didn't respond the way I thought she should have. And I was angry. I wanted some comfort or referral. Instead, she said, "Can I hire you to speak at my mental health conference?" And I'm angry at her now because this is serious. I'm thinking this is why people die by suicide. Well, the next day, she did what I call adult bullying. That's where you email somebody and CC a bunch of other people they know, and basically said, "I'd like to hire you to be my speaker." And I said, "You know what? Maybe I should just do this." I didn't want to do it. And I did it. I went up to make a speech about my journey, like a longer version of what I just shared with you. And let me just say, within a year, I was speaking nationally about mental health. Within a year.
So looking back, okay, this is so important. Looking back, you wish you would have said other things.
Yes. Well, because in that moment, sometimes, again, one thing I tell people to remember is that mental health challenges are confusing, complex, and frustrating. When I hurt my wrist in the gym, I knew it was either a sprain, a strain, or a broken wrist. No one really wakes up and goes, "I'm depressed. Maybe I should talk to someone." No, it's like someone usually has to confront you because of your behavior or whatever. So the thing is, looking back, I wanted some comfort. I just wanted the pain to go away. I didn't understand why she was maybe in my mind selfishly thinking that I should speak at her event, only to realize it was the greatest decision I ever made for my mental health. And I am so grateful. She has been just a huge influence in my life because of that.
Oh my God. She challenged you to do something that I bet at that moment you did not think was possible.
Yeah, I didn't think it was possible. It wasn't even in my reality, just to even just do the speech. But and fast forward to today, my company now, and it's funny, I had to move some things around, as you saw, as we were recording this, because we're actually having a company meeting right now. And I told them, I said, I have a meeting with Mary. So I can't, do this. And so we have a company now that does training throughout the world around mental wellness, the emotions.
My God.
And we design courses that people use all the time in the workplace. And I'm not a therapist. I'm not a therapist at all. But what we do is we hire experts to work with us and give us some really great content and recommendations so we can really help people. And that's what I like doing.
Wow. Wow. That's really something. No, let's go back a little bit, because we know listeners, we know people, even if they don't say it out loud, they're thinking, "Gee, I feel the same way. I don't have any hope." And what can you say to someone who's at that moment?
The thing that I would tell that person, and if you are listening out there and feeling hopeless, there's nothing that I can say that can change your feelings, because in that moment, what you're feeling is real to you. It is. But one of the lessons that I've learned from many years of dealing with these challenges, and I'm saying this from a really struggling and thriving at the same time, struggling and thriving, that when you start doing the work, whatever the work is, you actually don't get to see what it's going to look like in the end. You don't get to see what better is going to look like. You just eventually arrive there and look back and go, "I'm doing a little better." And you have to be willing to trust that. And we have a hard time in this world trusting things we can't see. How do I know therapy is going to work? You have to trust it. But I will tell you this, doing the work, whether it's therapy, whether it's a healthcare regimen, medication, whatever it is for you. And everyone's different, by the way, with doing the work. It's usually a cocktail of things that make a person get on the road to recovery, not one thing.
And never give up hope.
Correct.
I could tell you, I'm a psychiatrist. I don't know if you know that. I've been for 35 years. And so, and on the crisis line, right when people are on that edge, and I can tell you over and over and over and over, it's like, my God, people do get better. People do heal. But in that moment, the person can't fathom that could ever be possible.
Right. And so that's why, again, I'm going to say this again for anyone who might be listening, who's struggling, is that it's really important to trust. And it's even if it's hard, just attempt to trust that when you do the work, you will not see the result, but through the process, there's gold on the other side. There's gold that you're going to discover about yourself that you're going to love.
Exactly. Because each person has value. Each person is gold within.
Yeah.
They really are. And are destined. They're here. Each person has a mission and a purpose. We don't know what that is, right? We don't know what that is. But what you're saying is have faith.
Have blind faith.
Yeah, it's blind faith. It is.
Yeah. And I always remind people, especially when they're resistant to therapy, that therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors spend a lot of money and a lot of time in school to learn about this, and to really understand. And finding the right one, people have these assumptions sometimes. Well, if I go to a therapist, they're going to do this. No, that's not true. You're in charge of your treatment. If you go to a therapist, you can ask questions, and you should ask questions. Exactly. And guess what? You're not going to get better in one session. It's a process, not a destination.
Exactly. And to stick with, I just love what you said, that people need to feel empowered. It's their lives.
Yeah. It's
their treatment. And they need to be active partners and participants in that process.
Yep.
Now let's talk a little bit, I was reading your book, Transforming Stigma. And this is so important because it's hard to believe that in this day and age, we still are struggling with stigma, a mental illness. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there are two clues, I'm not going to say reasons, as to why stigma exists. And let me just give a definition. It's a mark of shame. And it's not everywhere, but in certain households, cultures, schools, towns, workplaces, there's an actual shame that's in the air. Like you can't describe it other than that. It's in the air, right? Around talking about mental health on any level.
Yes.
Even if you say, I'm just feeling a little anxious, whatever. And it comes from two places. Number one, the clue is no one wants to feel like the weird one. When we're in kindergarten, kindergartners call each other weird. You're weird, you're weird. They're figuring out who's in the group and who's not in the group.
Right.
No one wants to feel like the weird one. And the other thing is, like I said before, mental health challenges are confusing, complex, and frustrating. We as humans, we don't like that. We really don't. And if someone, 10 years down the road asked you, a young kid asked you who's not even born yet, what happened in 2020? How are you going to explain that to somebody? How are you? You might get stressed out even thinking about it because it's confusing, complex, and frustrating. So those are the two of the reasons that stigma exists, or I should say, not reasons, clues as to why it exists.
Clues. People just don't understand, and then they're coming from their own place.
Yes.
Absolutely. Of anxiety. And you know what? Honest with what happened in 2020, we had such a rise of mental health. It's become a mental health pandemic. With the lockdowns, the statistics are, it's exploding which is why your work is more important now than ever. We're not out of the woods yet, by any means. People, I mean, because all the things that help people, social connection, interaction, all right, and meaningful, social connections, job, activities, everything, the rug was pulled out from people. And we lived in this bubble of fear.
Yes, we did. And some of us are still in that, even though the pandemic it's funny, we talk about the pandemic like it's something that happened in the past, but we're actually still in it right now at the time of this recording. But yes, you're absolutely right. And the thing is,
Yes.
people are really struggling. And there's, even nowadays, Russia, what's going on overseas,
Right.
financial challenges, the economy, people getting hit left and right.
Left and right. So really, this crosses all, what would you say, socioeconomic, culture, everything. And the global statistics bear it out. People are really hurting right now.
They really are.
So part of what you're doing here by sharing your story is so important. It's so significant because you're giving people a glimmer of hope.
Yes. And, and through it, let me be honest and say there are days where I really struggle.
Yes.
And it's hard, but you know what? One of the gifts that I've been blessed with is tools that I can rely on when it happens. And I say it because it can mean that phone call about a family member that you never want to get. It could be the thing that you never thought would happen to our government is happening now. Like whatever it is going to happen, but having tools will help you better thrive through it.
Can you share one of those tools with us?
Yeah, the way I like to share tools, and I'll share one, but is a story about Starbucks. I need my Starbucks in the morning. And Starbucks, for those of you that are fans of Starbucks, they have this little green spill stopper in the cup. And it's supposed to stop from spilling. And I don't know, it just never works out with me. And one day I was in Starbucks and I got my coffee, I'm ready to leave. And I turn around and somebody who's flying through the door hits me and the coffee goes everywhere. So I bring this up in actually one of my courses. So why did the coffee spill? It didn't spill necessarily because someone hit me or the stopper didn't work. Coffee spilled because coffee was in the cup. Had it been milk, it would have been milk that spilled. So basically, what's in the cup spills out when you get hit. So part of my tools is actually preventative, working on filling my cup with good stuff every day. For example, this morning, meditation, getting my mind quiet. When I do that, I'm getting in the habit of quieting myself inside. So when it happens, whatever it is, it's going to be so difficult, but I'll be able to quiet myself inside and have a better shot at getting through it.
Exactly. You get grounded. You're really grounded and have that solid foundation.
Yeah.
With your practices.
Yep.
And that's so important. It really is. Without it, because you know as well as I, okay, that coffee spills, you're flying, you're all over the place. Other people, and then it's a catalytic reaction. Everybody else is hysterical. Oh my God, the coffee spilled. And it's like, but when you're grounded, it's like, you know what? I'm getting through this.
Yep.
But there's a faith. You said that earlier. There's a faith that you have. It's like, yeah, I'm getting through. I'm making it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's holding on to that vision. And the thing is, we're talking about, finding peace in this time of uncertainty. I think this is really the key to finding peace, is having tools around three things: stress, anxiety, and loneliness. Those three things seem to be the things that are coming up for a lot of people. I mean, more things too, but those three things. And a lot of people just never really developed tools around managing stress, or the tools they had were not really self-care tools. They were escape activities. And it's important, we can talk about self-care, and I know everyone in the world is talking about it now, but there's a difference between self-care and escape activities. Nothing wrong with escape activities. And truth be told, I can't really tell you what that is. it's something you need to really define for yourself. There's nothing wrong with having a glass of wine, but when you start having to drink a whole bottle because of everything that's happening, that's not self-care anymore. That is not self-care. So it's important to find activities that allow you to get in touch with your emotions, feel them, allow you to get in touch with the conversation in your head, and embrace those more than ones that allow you to escape.
Exactly. So you said 3 critical: stress,
anxiety, and loneliness.
And loneliness. And loneliness, that was the the pandemic blew that one up. I mean, we watched our whole lives just vanish.
Yeah.
I remember just going like to the local little health club. It's like, oh my God, the doors are closed. Oh my God.
It was traumatic. It was traumatic for all of us.
It was.
I mean, I remember talking to my therapist on, Zoom during the pandemic. And look, she's a great therapist. But I could even sense from her, she was going through a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, as a patient, that was hard to see. I mean, I know it's a reality. I can't just think, why would I think that, oh, you've got it perfect? But it really hit me hard that, when am I going to see this person ever again? Am I going to see them ever again?
Oh, wow.
It was very difficult, even for us introverts.
But it was. It really was. And I think now, like, just by even talking about it, we're putting it out there and acknowledging it's like this was our reality. Right. And we're taking baby steps, each of us, to heal from all this. And you know what I mean, I said, because I hear life will never be the same, but in our minds, we say somehow, but we're going to make it better.
Right. For those of you listening who've experienced trauma, and trauma is an interesting word because a lot of people think civil war when they think, trauma, but, trauma is unique to every person. And trauma, as you know, Mary, changes the brain and changes just who you are fundamentally. Right. And I know, having experienced my own trauma through the years, that there have been times where it's like, okay, I'm just never going to be the same. But that's okay. That's okay. And that's something I've had to learn to embrace, that this is a new version of yourself.
Wow.
But it's so hard because we want to hold on to the old. In fact, in therapy, I was talking about this week in therapy, how I'm grateful that I'm feeling much better, but I still kind of miss my old self and not sure if I want it back, and I'm confused and all this anxiety over it, because it's a very real thing. So I encourage all of you who've experienced a new you or are experiencing a new you, to embrace the new you.
Exactly. And you know what? It's stepping outside that comfort zone. Even if, right?
Yep.
It's like, I didn't really like how I was, but it sure was comfortable.
It sure was comfortable. But you bring up something very important. We as humans find safety in familiarity. Exactly. One of the reasons change is hard, because it feels like it's unsafe. It's a threat to our existence. And you think about the past 2.5 years, it's just been change after change after change after change. Exactly. So that has really threatened our sense of safety in the world.
But now let's segue in. It sounds like, you have done amazing given all the stresses, and look at who you are and everything you're doing. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's and please understand that you're getting me in a moment of, I'm enjoying my conversation with you so much, but you're getting me in a moment. But this is a daily effort to stay focused on being well. It's not a one and done.
No. And I think people need to hear that. It's like, you don't just arrive and everything is, rainbows and unicorns and everything's perfect. And life isn't that way.
Yeah.
It's every day. You have your practices, right? You're deeply grounded in your practices. You have that faith that you're making it, right? But that's an everyday thing. And I really hope our listeners hear that, because I know we will reach people that are struggling right now.
Yeah.
And that they know that they're not alone. They are not alone. And put one foot in front of the other.
Yes, even if it seems impossible, just baby steps. And
Exactly.
again, I think the theme of this whole thing is blind faith
It
that
is.
it will work out and you will
It
prevail
is.
in the end.
It is. It is. It is. Wow. And you know what? But as we're talking, we appreciate we're not alone.
Yeah.
We're not alone in this journey.
No.
And this whole thing of stigma, I mean, this is so outdated. It's like, okay, guys, if there's stigma, it's probably coming from people that are not in touch with their own selves and their own emotions.
Yeah. And as I'm learning, I'm actually in Oklahoma right now. And I was speaking at an event in a part of the state that's very rural, where they're looking for more resources around mental health, but it's just not part of their culture to talk about it. So, it's not someone intentionally trying to like say, oh, we don't talk about mental health, but sometimes, cultural habits are something we don't talk about enough. We have a habit of starting in the United States. Hey, how are you? Good. How are you? That's not even a question. It's like just how we start like engaging with someone. And that's a cultural habit. So it's really important to just take notice of certain things that are going on in your culture, whatever that is. That could be your home, your friend group, your peer group at work. And just be aware of it. Not right or wrong, just be aware of it.
Right. Just be aware of it. So then let's lead into your company and what you offer, because I know you offer a lot.
Yeah. What do I offer? Woo! The thing that I really like to share that I offer is we have something for everybody. So maybe you just want to come and check out some articles on the website. We've got a pretty robust blog, and a lot of it's directed towards workplace mental health and employees. But it's stuff that anyone can apply. One of the reasons that I directed it at the workplace, hint, hint, is because a lot of parents work in the workplace and can bring what they learn home to their kids. So it's a win. But the thing is, I offer some courses on workplace mental health, and one for teachers right now called Fill Your Cup, the Exhausted Educator's Guide to Emotional Wellness. They are both available on Open Sesame. If you go to that website, opensesame.com, type in my name, you'll see my courses. You can check them out. Yeah, and one thing I should let you know is that 2 of them are on there. You can get a CEU, continuing education. One of the things I did during the pandemic was get my company accredited for continuing education by the International Accreditors for Continuing Education and Training. So it's not just me running my mouth about some ideas or whatever in a YouTube video. It's really vetted material that's proven and has really helped a lot of people. So that's what I offer. And I'm a mental health speaker. I speak around the world in different workplaces. And if I can help you, you can reach out to me, find me on my website. I'm more than happy to talk with you.
So do you focus mainly in workplaces, or do you also speak to community groups, schools?
Yep. I do them all. Colleges, schools.
So colleges, schools, community groups.
Yeah, and it's I think sometimes with presentations, it's whoever's looking for something that I can be a fit for, and I just sometimes I'm talking about stigma, sometimes I'm talking about how to have the conversation in the workplace, how to be a better manager and support your employees. That's an interesting one, because a lot of managers right now, their employees are coming to them saying, I'm struggling. And the managers are like, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. Like, what do I do? So it's really important to have training around this in the workplace, because as you said, it's like, this is where we're at right now. But yes, that's what I do. And I just really enjoy sharing that. And I'm the author of multiple books. You can find
multiple books. Give us a quick rundown. I know about Transforming the Stigma, which is great.
Well, my workplace mental health course, Connectivity and Conversations, is also a book. So if you prefer to take a course as a book, you go on Amazon or your favorite bookstore, get the same exact price as the course.
Okay.
And the same for Fill Your Cup, The Exhausted Educator's Guide to Emotional Wellness, both a book and a course.
And educators need so much support
Oh,
today.
Mary, they're leaving. Oh, geez. Yesterday, I just found out that more than 50% are like seriously considering leaving the profession right now.
Oh,
That's not a good trend.
more than 50%?
In the United States of America right now, considering leaving the profession.
Mhm.
We are having a mass exodus of teachers, and they are, first of all, prior to the pandemic, they were underpaid. They were underpaid.
There's no
prior to that.
question. No
But
question.
now they're under so much pressure. For
know.
example, in a lot of districts, you hear stories about parents attacking the school board or the school board saying that students can't read a certain book or be taught a certain thing in class. You can't do this. I'm going to show you how to teach. But then, you know, you need to take firearms training now. You know, and teachers are going, so wait, you don't trust me to provide the content, but you trust me with a firearm. And so it's very stressful. And I'm hoping that with this course, maybe it'll touch one teacher and just get them to stay in the profession.
Exactly. Exactly. One person at a time.
One at a time.
One at a time. That's, and you right, we look at ourselves. I'm working on me, one person at a time, and then you're modeling that.
That's all it is. And that's, yeah, I love that you said that. Yes, it's one person at a time, but you never know that you're modeling. For those of you that are listening, sorry, one more thing I just want to say.
No, good.
That have family members or friends who are struggling.
Yes.
One of the greatest things you could do for them is be a good role model. So if you've got a child that you think needs to go to therapy, make sure you're going to therapy. It's going to be that role model relationship that helps others more than you can imagine. And advice does not work. Advice pisses people off. It puts a wall between you and them. It's not going to do anything. But being a role model, learning to ask, how can I support you? Help me understand. If you're a manager, what kind of flexibility do you need from me? Is going to be the ways to support others. Sorry, I just went off on a tangent.
No, that's a huge, that's huge. And you know what? It is. It's our thoughts and the words that we use are so critical, And you need the training. You really do. So it's not we come from a deficit model, is, oh, I'm broken. Okay, we're all human. We're all trying to elevate ourselves and improve ourselves and grow, right? So it's not when people say, oh, I need to go to therapy, I'm broken. No, you're looking to better yourself. You're looking to be the very best version of you that you can be.
Correct. It's a huge growth opportunity.
It is. It is. So if we leave people with that message, then that's a huge gift. That's a huge gift.
I agree.
So, Mike, before we close, what else? And I want to get all your websites and how people can get in touch with you. But before we close, what else do you want to share with our listeners?
I want to share with the listeners that you aren't what's happening to you. You aren't your mental health challenge. You aren't your problems. You're you. And it might not feel like that right at the moment, but I promise you, you are you. And those are just things that are in your life. They're not making you less of a person. They're just making you you. We all have stuff. We all got skeletons in the closet. Everyone does.
That's right.
And I just encourage you to embrace that. If you're not in therapy, I encourage you to reach out to a therapist, counselor, psychiatrist, or psychologist and start that journey. And if you're thinking, as you're listening to this, oh, I've been there before, I don't want to have to share my whole story again. That's usually a sign you need to share your story again. Exactly. And so that is really, really important. And if I could ever be of help to you, feel free to reach out to me.
So that leads into, how can our listeners reach you?
The best is through my website.
Okay.
www.mikeveny.com. Again, that's www.mike, V like in Victor, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, Y as in yellow.com.
And we'll have the link below, but that's really, so get on the website. And I saw, I mean, you offer so much. You offer so much. So inviting people to get on their website and really have a look. And then people ask themselves, gee, how could Mike help me?
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, so thank you.
Oh, it's a privilege. Mike, one more question. Do you work as a therapist? You said you're not a therapist.
Nope, I'm a wellness specialist, a certified corporate
Okay.
wellness specialist.
Okay.
So I don't offer therapy, but I can maybe direct you to some resources to learn about ways to find a therapist for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, it has been an absolute privilege to have you here in your busy day. You're so busy. You're doing so much. And we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, then. Take best of care.
Okay, bye.
Okay.